Egypt says 63% of the voting population of the country has approved the controversial referendum on a new constitution. The vote sparked violent protests between the Muslim Brotherhood and the opposition. Liberal, secular, and Christian groups have accused President Mohammed Morsi of a power grab, they say, reminiscent of the Mubarak era. They claim the new constitution will undermine human rights, open the door to a Sharia law interpretation of the laws in that country, and do not guarantee rights for minorities or women. Ian Lee joins me now on the line from Cairo. So 63% by any measure, Ian, is a landslide in approval of this new constitution.
Well, that's the way it looks like, Hala. We've been expecting that number or some number close to that as we've heard the unofficial results. But it definitely is a large approval of the Constitution from the people who voted. The only problem, or one of the problems, is that it was such a small turnout. This is one of the smallest turnouts we've seen in any election or referendum since Egypt's revolution. So it is going to be how opposition is going to galvanize the people who didn't vote to get them out for parliamentary elections, which are supposed to take place in 2 months. You're also going to see the Brotherhood and the Islamists trying to galvanize that 68% to come out in their favor as well. That 68% we're seeing now is going to really be the wild card moving forward in future elections.
So explain to us and remind our viewers, what does this Constitution actually say? Why are seculars, liberals, Christians so worried about it?
Well, reading this Constitution, it's very ambiguous on rights. And a lot of people say that it can be, whoever's in power can misuse this Constitution to violate the rights of minorities, Christians, women. A lot of people are also upset over the role of the military in the Constitution. They say it gives it too much autonomy and that it should be brought more under a civilian oversight. So a lot of people are worried that the Islamists and the Muslim Brotherhood are going to use this Constitution to abuse the rights of people. And they say this isn't what they fought for in the revolution, and that's why they're so angry about it.
So, of course, you're going to have people who are going to ask this question. Were there election monitors? How do we know that this referendum election process was free and fair in Egypt?
Well, this referendum was pretty much rushed. It was called for 2 weeks after the Constitution was written, as stipulated in a previous referendum, but it was rushed. And so a lot of international organizations held back from monitoring it because they felt like they couldn't monitor it the way they should. We did have a lot of local people monitor it, NGOs from Egypt monitor it. There was violations that they compiled and sent to a commission. The court ruled, or the commission ruled, that any polling station that had widespread violations, all those votes would be nullified and would not go toward the count. So there are some questions about how widespread these complaints were.
Okay, and then lastly, the big question, the bigger, wider national question for this country, Egypt. Will the opposition accept this, or will we see more violence, more opposition to President Morsi, more accusations that he's acting essentially like an autocrat?
Well, the opposition has been trying to, and we've seen these protests over the last few weeks against this Constitution, against the constitutional referendum and the constitutional decree, and it didn't really have any effect on that process. So one thing we're seeing the opposition do now is really gear up for the parliamentary elections within 2 months. Previous elections, we've seen them divided. This time they say they're going to have a unified front so they can put as many people as possible into the new parliament so that they can change the Constitution that way.